and welcome to Frequency Finder, the SRC Music Podcast. This is a space where we dive into the stories, sounds, and chat to the people shaping the music scene here in Northern Ireland. I'm Amy Carson, and today's episode is all about discovering new sounds, new music, and your new favourite artist. I am joined by three amazingly talented guests, and we're about to dive into their new music releases and unpack the creative processes behind the tunes. So let's go ahead and meet them. Joining me on the sofa, we've got frontman of the Davids, Sárán, vocalist from Northbound Rose, and we've got singer-songwriter and all-rounder Sárán. Welcome to Frequency Finder, everyone.
Thank you, Amy. It's delighted to be here.
Cool. So just before we get started on chatting, we're going to listen to one of your tracks. So first up, we have Sárán. So let's have a listen.
It's a Friday night on Duke Street in the skylight room. I'm sipping on my double brandy while listening to the blues. I'm only in for one or two, that's what I always say. The music's good and so is the food, so I think I might stay. 1 pint, 2 pints, 3 then 4, that's where it all goes wrong. With the devil's water in the mix, my mind and legs are gone.
Cool, that sounds great. So kicking off with influences, thinking about kind of the sound of your band, who or what artists have really helped shape your sound?
Well, growing up, I come from really a country background with our traditional music as a province. So I guess as you go older, that still sticks to you, you know, the folk and the Americana kind of sound. It never leaves you, your roots never leave you. But as you go on through life, you know, you discover different things. So I'd say I'm heavily influenced by blues and swing jazz, New Orleans jazz. Recently, probably Latin American music. I've been listening to a lot of the Buena Vista Social Club. So I'm influenced by all sorts of different music, from rock and roll, folk, jazz, Americana, country, all that kind of stuff. And it all blends into like a unique kind of genre in itself. Even though you'd think some things don't go hand in hand, you can take elements of stuff and blend together and works into like a lovely fresh sound. But yeah, I love story. People that are really good at storytelling, like John Prine, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, Tom Waits. Them kind of guys who are their songs are timeless, but the stories are still relevant today. And I think it's people like that heavily influenced me. Modern musicians, I love the likes of Zach Bryan, probably is a big influence on my kind of sound and folk Americana, what I'm trying to go for. Hozier, obviously that kind of blend of blues, and it's made its way into the pop scene as well, is a huge influence on me. So there's so many different things that have contributed to my sound. And then you've great people locally, like folk musicians like Matt McGinn and Gareth Dunlop, and there's other great bands coming out like Amble and Kingfisher, and they're all a great influence on the sound and you know that's coming out now.
Yeah,
and it's good to see so many Irish artists, north, south, west, and east, doing so well. I think it's a really exciting time to be a musician here.
Yeah, there's loads kind of happening. For you guys, is it a similar story? Does it start off with like what you grew up with, or did you find your own kind of influences and paths? Throw it to Rose first.
Me first?
Yeah.
No, not really. My mum would like, I don't know, my mum would like listen to Adele a lot when we were growing up, so I know for me she's one of my big influences, but like I'd listen to more like heavier rock stuff that they don't like as much. It wouldn't be considered heavy rock, but like Wonder Horse, Inhaler, Tom Pender, any of them, but they don't really like them very much.
You discovered your own sort of stuff?
Yeah, they're more the Allman Brothers
cool
kind of stuff.
Nice.
It's very interesting contrast.
Cool. And Aaron, did you have many big influences when you started off and started writing?
Well, when I started off music, it was country, because, well, I actually hated country, but it was in my family. Country music was in my family.
You were forced to listen to it?
Yeah. I didn't really have a choice, and a lot of 80s.
Nice.
Which I have a soft spot for, but I'm not influenced by 80s. So I kind of had to work my own way with like 70s and 60s. The very start was a lot of Beatles music. and then everything else kind of stemmed from there, like U2 and The Strokes and that kind of vibe.
That kind of sound.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think it's probably the perfect time to listen to one of your tracks. Sárán.
Okay.
Every second counts to leave a few. Has brought me here tonight. Is any word and song to rhyme for you? Has left me feeling down. So I'll flip this point of view, hoping that you'd feel it too. 'Cause every second counts, but I'll left a few.
So that's a song that you have wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your kind of typical writing process? Like, how do you go about creating your songs?
I just sit in the bed with the acoustic. It's pretty.
Just you
I
by
don't
yourself?
really have a cool thing to say about that song or many songs, but like it didn't come to me in my dreams or anything. But
So it just starts off with you, guitar. Do you involve any of your band members or people around you? Or when do you bring it to them?
band would be kind of arranging and parts. The very bare bones of the songs will come first, just by myself. Record a voice note and send it to them, get an approval, a yeah or no, and then we usually take it further in the room together. So everyone kind of has a part in writing. It feels more like a band for me when everyone's involved and I haven't arranged everything and I haven't wrote all the parts. I'll just write lyrics, melody, some sort of chord progression, which will probably get changed, to be honest. Change a key or something, but yeah.
Yeah. And what do you find is like your biggest challenges when you come to songwriting? Is it when you bring it to the band, or is it at those kind of first initial stages?
There's a lot of procrastination when I songwrite. There's only maybe 3 months of the year where I can songwrite, but in the 3 months there's about 20 songs. I always seem to be in some sort of rut, but I just kind of come away from it and then come back. Probably more than 3 months of the year. I can't write every day.
Yeah. So
I have to be in a very specific mood, which is kind of annoying sometimes because sometimes I need new songs and I can't make them.
you got to find yourself that space
Yeah.
to do it. Sárán, for you, is it like the same thing? You got to get in the right headspace, or is it you prefer collaborating with other people or people around you?
Well, actually, I had this conversation not so long with a good friend of mine, Brian Finnegan, and I was saying that in order to write a good song, I need stillness. I need to just be sitting in a room, nothing else happening. Sometimes it's in the late hours of the night, sometimes in the early hours of the morning. But I have to be in either, just like Aaron, I have to be in my bedroom, sitting inside the bed, or in the conservatory looking over the horizon of the mornings. or in my living room. But I need privacy and stillness for my songwriting, and I think that's when it all happens. But I understand what Aaron's saying. 3 months is kind of what I used to be like, but I've found recently that I have to continuously write. Like last night, sometimes things just come to you and you have to write them down. So it's so important to record it as soon as it happens, because even if you don't use it then, you can use it again. I think I was talking to Gareth Dunlop not so long ago about this. Recycling is a big thing of songwriting. It mightn't be useful now, but you could use it a year later, a month later, 10 years later. So it's so important to document everything. But I understand what Aaron's saying, that sometimes you get good spells where the magic happens and you can't understand how it happens. Some songs write themselves, others don't. Like over the Easter break there, I had this great song with very strong melody, very strong chords, and I had the story. The story is very clear. It was about a guy, and similar story for a lot of people. As we know, a lot of people are going to Australia nowadays, Abu Dhabi. It's about a guy, and he was just sick of his life here, and he wanted to go beyond the horizon and start again, but he was too scared because he had a secure job, he had a family, but he wanted to start his new life, but he didn't know how. So I had this story in mind, but I just couldn't get it out. So I was talking to another guy called Matt McGinn. He was saying the importance, having a story is great, but you need to find the angle. That's the most important thing. Once you find the angle and how you want the story to be portrayed, then you can start writing things down. But yes, my songwriting process.
And it's great with songwriting, like there's no kind of hard, fast rules with it. Everyone's kind of got their own process and their own way around it. I think probably now is a chance to hear from Northbound, listen to their track, and then let's hear the story behind it.
Great.
So that's Northbound's new track. And so I know this is kind of the first time as a group these were like writing together. So let's chat a bit about kind of the collaboration and the band dynamic. How do you keep things like creatively fresh when you are in that situation, start writing? So whose role is what?
That's a great question. Most of the time we'll come together as a band and then sit there and be like, what do we want to write about? What message do we want to try send? Who do we want to sound like? And we'll probably argue about it for like at least 20 minutes. And then we'll eventually come back to like the very first conclusion that we came to at the start, and go from there. For this song, when Danny Larkin was in, I think she'd mentioned that she'd go to a book and go from there. And we were like, just try that. So they went up to the library and just were going through books and we're like, let's take the first line in of a book. Can't actually remember what the line is now, but just went from that and based the song off it.
Nice. So that was like a new approach.
Yeah, we were trying loads of different ways, from either like, let's watch a movie, let's listen to this artist, any stories we could find, and then we're like, you know what, let's just try to write the song.
Fair enough. So obviously being very creative, like sometimes people getting their ideas across, like how, Aaron, like how do you deal with like creative differences like within your band if you're bringing the song to the table and you really want to fight for it and maybe there's a bit of resistance?
Just fight.
Just fight.
We don't really have that, to be honest. We're quite we are honest with each other. If something's not working, we take each other's word for that and we'll move on. There's loads of cases where I wanted something but it's not working. Yeah. It works for me but it doesn't work for the rest, and there's a vote and there's only 4 of us, so sometimes there is a
draw.
Yeah.
Do you think being honest is like a really important thing like within your band dynamic?
Yeah, just being honest and open, and it needs to be an open space. It can't be, you can't really, if you're not happy with something, you should say.
Yeah, don't just say.
But we're all pretty good at taking criticism.
That's good. Yeah. Sárán, for you, obviously you're kind of like leading your own music, but when you get other musicians in, How do you find working with those people?
Well, I've been very blessed over the years to work with great musicians. I've never had an argument or really anything that's went out of control. So currently in my project, I have Joss on bass, and anybody who's had the pleasure of playing with Joss before knows that he's one of them dudes who just knows what to do and when to do it. So it's very relieving for me to work with good musicians because they know what to do and when to do it. And so I kind of let them work it out first. But if I have a very strong idea on something, I'll try and demonstrate it. So there's one of the songs, One Too Many, that you heard earlier on. I had a drum fill for it. Obviously, I don't speak drum language. So I said, "Oh, can you do this here?" So thank goodness he'll understand that. But often, a lot of the time, as I said, I've been so blessed over the years to work with good musicians who know what to do and when to do it. So we've never had any debates and we've never had any fallouts or arguments like that. But yeah, I'm very good at communicating how I want things to sound. Obviously, from a young age, when I was about 12 or 13, is when I started to learn music theory and chords and how chords form. So if I want them to play a particular chord or want something to sound a particular way, I'm good at communicating that way. But yeah, just to reinforce that point, when you work with good people, it makes my job a lot easier, especially because I'm a multi-instrumentalist as well. I can understand every instrument's role. And again, because I work in various genres, I can understand how it should sound and where things should sit. So for one of my songs coming out in June called Finally Found You, it's kind of like a folk kind of song. It's very chilled back. So the drums weren't a prominent thing, but they still have a role to play. So I was able to talk with Owen. We talked for a good while about how the drums should sound. And we got something worked out. But yeah, when you work with good musicians, good things happen.
Not a bad way to be. So a question for all of you now. Kind of looking ahead, maybe a year's time, in 5 years' time, what are your goals and where would you like your music projects to be in that time? Who's going to go first? Aaron, you go first.
No, I don't want to be too ambitious. I want to bounce off everyone else. I want 6 albums and...
You want the headline slot at Glastonbury? Is that what you want?
Everything. 5 years. Definitely one album. I think in 5 years is doable. Just loads of gigs and
Playing out live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting the audience together.
Uh-huh.
Nice one. Rose, for you, what do you see your future goals being?
I think at the moment we're just going to continue working on songwriting and trying to hear each other out and collaborating better, because sometimes we can bounce off each other and it doesn't work as well. So a more peaceful workspace.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
for me, I guess because I'm solo is a wee bit different to working in a band, but yeah, similar things to like what Aaron said. I don't want to be too ambitious, but at the same time, I want to be realistic with what I want to do. In definitely the next 5 years, I'd like to see an album or 2 come out because of so much stuff gathering up and bulking up that I want it to be released. But sometimes I feel, just what Danny Larkin was in not so long ago, sometimes things aren't ready to come out now, but I feel as if they'll be ready to come out by then. I'd also really like to get into collaborating and writing with different artists as well. Sometimes it gets a wee bit lonely, writing by yourself in the bedroom. So whenever you take it out to an audience and it gets a great reception, it's such a rewarding thing. So more gigs. I'm lucky of a couple of gigs coming up in the summer. So my band's playing at the Blues Festival in Armagh in August time with a couple other exciting things. You can check it out on social media, that sort of nonsense. But more songwriting, more gigs. Obviously, I'd like to even do a festival. That would be pretty cool. I was talking to Aaron about that the other day. Getting in the festivals is a pretty cool thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that'd be an amazing thing. So more gigs, more songs,
more everything.
Yeah. More rock and roll in the world. That's what we need.
Nice one. Well, they all sound great and all kind of seem like one to watch. So everyone kind of keep an eye out for that. So a massive thank you for all of you for joining us today. So Aaron, Rose and Sárán, thank you so much. Be sure to follow them on socials, stream their tracks and catch them live whenever you can. We'll have the links in the show notes for you. And if you like this episode and you enjoy discovering new music, then, well, you're in luck because part 2 is coming out soon and we'll be joined with a whole host of emerging talent. So don't forget to subscribe and follow. Join us again on Frequency Finder, the SRC Music Podcast, for more conversation with the artists, producers and industry voices shaping the NI music scene. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to a Factory 61 produced podcast.